Why have Arsenal signed Madueke? Is it time for Arteta to go? Or is something that the fans are not seeing and Arteta and his backroom staff are seeing? Now, first things first, the abuse that Madueke has been getting, it's absolutely disgusting. Yes, we are sick and tired of signing players from Chelsea, but one thing that we do know is that the player has indeed joined the club, so we need to back him. It's not our fault. It's not the player's fault. We just need to back him. For some sort of reason, Arsenal love doing business with Chelsea. The first thing we need to think about is the player himself. What does he bring? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? And we're going to start with the weaknesses. We're going to start with the plain and simple. He is very, very bad in making the right decision at times. Sometimes, or most of the time, he chooses to dribble and shoot instead of making a pass. There are so many instances where I've seen him and he's dribbling. Players around him are drifting into space, and if he just took his head up and played that pass, there would have been so many goal opportunities and his tally would have been more up. Another one of his weaknesses is his first
Oh
touch.
my god.
So many times I was watching him and I've seen him kill counter-attacks, kill attacks, kill momentum because of his first touch. His first touch, instead of taking him forward, it will either kind of stick at his feet or go behind him or go backwards, allowing the opposition defender to get back into a better defending position. He needs to drill that out of his game if he wants to go to the next level. Often he dribbles too much, and this goes back into what I was saying before in terms of the decision making that he does sometimes. The next thing I want to talk about as well is how raw Madueke is. Don't get me wrong, you're looking at goals compilations, you can go and see how good Madueke can be on his day, but that's the thing, on his day. He needs to turn on his day into on his weeks, on his months, onto, consistency. And he has not been coached well at Chelsea. The thing is, Chelsea are on a different sort of goal path to Arsenal. Chelsea want to win as soon as possible. They don't really care about development, as well as them bringing in a load of youth players. They're not being coached and being like, kind of nurtured as much. It's almost like, come in, have you got the potential to fit in? Okay, you do. If you don't, bye. And Arteta loves the development players, and to be honest, I am sick and tired of development players. I want the world-class player coming in, and it seems that because of his environment at Chelsea, he wasn't coached very well, and he wasn't taught how to do certain things or how to think in certain situations. Maybe potentially that might change at Arsenal. Tactically, he is average, very, very average. Sometimes he should exploit spaces, and he's not doing so because he's not tactically aware as much. And again, this could be due to not getting coached properly, but sometimes he receives the ball in harder situations, making him have to beat his man. So tactically he's very average, but this could be due to not being coached properly. Now, we've spoken about his weaknesses, and trust me, when you're looking at it right now, you're thinking, why did we go and spend 50 million on him?
Why? Why? Why?
What are Madueke's strengths? And one of his strengths that I'm surprised, really surprised to see, because again, actually studying him, he's very quick, which obviously everyone knew, but he's surprisingly very, very strong. It's hard to shove the ball off Madueke or to get the ball off him. He's literally riding these robust challenges from other defenders to the point where the defenders are falling down. Another strength of Madueke is that he loves to dribble. I know that is a weakness because in previously I said he loves to dribble, sometimes he dribbles too much. But if he is coached and he is getting developed, he can turn those dribbles into exceptional numbers. But the thing that I really like about Madueke since actually studying him was the fact that he's able to invert but also able to go on the outside as a traditional winger. And this is on both sides. It's very, very rare that you get a player that can do that on both sides, that can give you the best of both on both sides. And you need to remember, what is Arsenal's kryptonite? It's the low block. Why can't we get past the low block? Because we don't have enough players that have these progressive carries, that love to dribble. Madueke loves to isolate players one-on-one, sometimes 1v2. When he gets it right, he gets it right. He doesn't do it enough. He's inconsistent. That's the main thing about Madueke. Great player in terms of potential ability and the skill set he has, but because he doesn't do it enough, you can't get extremely excited about a player when, on his day he's good, but most of the other times he's average. I'll say this: if he can be coached and he can drill out some of the weaknesses, what's not some of the weaknesses, a lot of the weaknesses that he has, I think there is a decent player in there. And I think we are going to see a player that could potentially really surprise a lot of people. Because as much as people want to banter the player on both sides, Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans, there are a large selection of Chelsea fans that still think there is a decent player in there and he just needs to develop and be coached properly because of the skill set. More importantly, when you watch those compilations, look at the skill set that he has. Look at what he does well. Don't just look at, is it a fancy goal? Is it a good goal? No, look at what he does and then look at how many times he does it. He's still the age of 23. And I think world football now, because of certain wingers that are coming out at certain ages, Yamal, Due, and maybe a couple of others, they're almost raising the bar too much to the point where it's like everyone at a younger age or everyone by the time of 20, 21 needs to be of a certain value or needs to be of a certain caliber. It just doesn't work like that. Football is very different. Football is extremely, extremely unique in terms of players when they develop, especially the environment that they're in. And this is what we need to remember as well. Because when he was at PSV, and this is a big if, Arsenal fans, if he was at PSV and you used to look at the compilations that you saw, because most people do that, they look at compilations and you saw he was at PSV, would you have taken him? And like me, you probably would have, but it's because he's at Chelsea, that you're feeling a bit butthurt, and I get it. I completely get it. But it doesn't mean that there's not a player in there. It doesn't mean that we can't develop him into becoming a better player. If you see the best experienced wingers now, the likes of Salah, if you think of the best wingers, the most experienced wingers so far, Rafinha's, what numbers were they doing at the age of 23? Where were they at the age of 23? Nobody predicted the Salah that we're seeing today to be the Salah that we saw at Chelsea. Last thing, I really do hope that he does do well. As much as I'm disappointed about the signing and I don't really understand it, and it's not one of the signings that we needed, especially in terms of how and when it was done in the transfer window, knowing that we need a striker, knowing that we need a left wing, knowing that we potentially already have Noneri that can fill that position. The abuse that he's been getting, the poor lad, and the fact that he's joined a club, he's going to be wearing that Arsenal shirt with the badge, he's going to get my fullback in. Is this writing on the wall for Mikel Arteta? As obvious, please like, share, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day.